That, ladies and gentlemen, was a hell of an episode. Our crew goes down to Tennessee. Ralph is a believer. And El Cuoco, we see him in action. We're going to talk about that and much more. Episode 8 of The Outsider was titled Foxhead. Sensing something ominous afoot, Clyde reconnects with his brother in Tennessee, while Holly, Ralph, Yunis, and Andy follow him in hopes of isolating the evil force and thwarting its next kill. A visiting family avoids danger. What's going on, everybody? Elliot back again with my weekly recap, breakdown, review of the latest episode of HBO's The Outsider. And as you can see by this big old smile on my face, I really enjoyed episode 8, and I'm very excited to break it down with you all. But before we do so, as you can see on the screen now, make sure you're following me on all my social media accounts. Make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with my weekly reviews for TV shows, movies, trailer reactions, unboxing, giveaways, and all the fun things we do on this channel. And also, give this video a thumbs up. And as you all have been doing a fantastic job of doing so far, leave your thoughts below. What do you think about episode 8? What's your theories for the next 2 episodes in out this season? And let's have some fun discussions down there. Man, episode 8, Foxhead had my head going round and round. I really enjoyed this episode, guys. I think this might be my favorite one so far. It was suspenseful, thriller, some scary moments. El Cuoco in action. We see him finally in action, the moment we were waiting for. But also, my boy Ben Mendelsohn's Ralph is finally a believer. So much to break down in this episode. But before we do so, I want to ask you all a question. What did you think? First off, Holly is intelligent. I love her idea to isolate Clyde so they could be like an eyewitness to him. But also on the backside of that, let me know what you all thought about the idea that they knew that El Cuoco would probably kill someone and they're protecting Clyde. It's just like, can we do both at once? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on that genius idea to an extent, in my opinion. But anyway, let's jump into this kind of breakdown, this recap here. First and foremost, I love Holly. She's so intelligent. Cynthia Erivo, Ben Mendelsohn, everyone in this cast has been doing a fantastic job. But I really, really love Holly's character, and I love her genius ideas. So her idea of isolating Clyde, making sure that if something does go down, that they have an alibi. They know where he's at because they're with him the whole time. I love that idea. It's the first time all season. Let me know if I'm mistaken here, but this is the first time that we have more people believing in Holly, what she has to say about El Cuoco, than ever before. I love that moment. It was kind of like, I'm a big, as you all know that watch like my movie reviews, I'm a big superhero guy. So I love that our heroes are in the same room. They're like, we got to find El Cuoco, and they're all on the same page to an extent. And we still got Ralph, who's kind of on the fence, off the fence, but I love this moment because they're all acknowledging the existence of El Cuoco. My favorite scene, though, is in this moment in the scene is Ralph. He's like, I'm going to go with you all. I'm going to go ahead and see what you all have been talking about and see if it's true. Ralph is finally getting on board, and we're going to talk about Ralph in this episode, but I love that moment there with our crew finally coming together and going out on this hunt. So we learned pretty early on that Glory has decided to sue everyone in town minus Ralph. Howie tells him that, that she believes that he can make sure that her husband's name is clear and free of the murders that he's, been accused for. So I love that moment there. And I think we're going to get hopefully a satisfying ending to Terry and his family, because that storyline has been a little hit or miss with Glory, in my personal opinion. I like the actress. I love the Jessa and the sister and everything that they're giving us, but it feels like it's kind of been on the back burner, and they kind of throw it in every now and then. So I hope that particular storyline has a satisfying conclusion. I love this scene here before, Ralph leaves to go with, Holly and everyone to go to Tennessee. Jenny tells Ralph, you're either in or you're out. There's no more, I don't believe in this. She's like, she tells him, you need to be with these people if you're going to find El Cuoco. And also, I love the moment that we get with Jenny and Ralph. They share like a kind of, intimate, kind of nice moment there. And we really don't see that too much with them too, because they've been kind of back and forth in regards to El Cuoco and obviously the death of their son and things like that. So it was nice to kind of see that moment there. We got to talk about Jack, guys, because with Jack, we got some of the best moments this season, and especially in this episode. So we see Jack is obviously on the run from the cops, but it's the moment that I've been waiting for. So we see Jack kills this guy, this random guy who seems to have a family. He's out just minding his business, out hunting. He shoots him in the head. And I'm thinking, okay, he shoots him in the head because he maybe just wants to take his car. I don't know why he couldn't knock him out. That wasn't Jack's intentions. He kills this guy, takes him out of his misery. because El Cuco got to get something to eat. We see El Cuco is just ripping him apart. I mean, here's the kind of the horror fan in me. I would have liked to have seen that scene. I know it's gross, it's weird. Why would you want to see that? I love horror. I love VFX. So I would have loved to have seen the special effects in that scene, but it was enough to hear what was going on. It sounded like he was just ripping this guy apart, this poor guy apart. And it's, we see Jack is obviously just like grossed out about it. But it was the next scene that we get with Jack that really kind of brought chills to my skin. We see that Jack's in the car. He sees the picture of the guy with his family. And I'm just thinking that El Cuco's probably still eating, or he's, doing whatever El Cuco does between 9 and 5, his working hours. But no, El Cuco's in the back seat. And you hear El Cuco and his voice is kind of raspy. And you see at this moment he's transforming into Clyde. We see the tattoos on his hand, and he tells him, give me that or whatever. And when I still need to eat, I need more food because the guy I just ate had cancer in him. So I'm just like, oh my goodness, El Cuco. We hear him. Obviously we've heard him talking before. We saw that scene with him and Jenny. And we've seen other moments with El Cuco in the mix, but this was the most that we've gotten from El Cuco in this episode and in that scene. I love that moment there. He tells Jack he needs to find more people to eat, and we see him eat someone else. And again, the growling, the noise, it's very sinister, and I'm loving all of it, guys. So we get a one-on-one, as I had mentioned last week. You give me two great characters like a Ralph in a Holly. You put them in a confined space like a car, and you get some great dialogue. It's in this car scene that we see, Holly asking him, why did he come? We get a great moment between Ralph and Holly, him telling her about the story of her mom, which I thought was hilarious, about the whole coincidence thing. Really funny moment. This episode had it all. It had comedy, it had horror, it had thriller, it had suspense. It had it all for me personally. But I love that car ride there. It was really interesting to me because Holly, mentions that he challenges her. He keeps her grounded because everyone else kind of believes her powers. Again, when I first saw Holly, I haven't read the book, but I like Holly has some type of shining ability, So it's in that moment that I was thinking like, this is just great writing because it kind of parallels El Cuco and Holly. Holly has her powers. She has her believers, but El Cuco has powers. We all know this. He's been around for centuries, but he doesn't want believers. He doesn't want anyone knowing about him. So I just love kind of that parallel between those two fascinating characters, and love the story again that Ralph tells him about the mom. Again, a lot of great moments there. And it's again that Holly tells Ralph, you need to get on board with what's going on, because if we're going to catch El Cuco, we need everyone on the same page. So I love those again car scenes with great characters. You get some golden moments there, and we definitely did so in that moment. It was something also that I noticed in this episode, which was really great foreshadowing. We see Clyde. He leaves, the home base and goes to Tennessee and catches up with his brother. And, the brother takes him back to his home where he grew up in. And it was in this moment, in this scene where we see, Clyde talking to his brother. And his brother mentions that he has a hobby about putting pieces to the puzzle together. And this is a very big kind of key thing for me in this episode, was how it kind of foreshadows everything that's going on in the show. We don't know who El Cuco is going to look like. We don't know where he's coming from. He's a mystery. He's a puzzle piece. He's just the pieces are all scattered on the table, But I love how this episode, now people are starting to come together and put the pieces to the puzzle together again, because we're going to talk about puzzles later in this episode. But I love that moment in this episode. So let's talk about the scene, guys. We see El Cuco. So first off, let's rewind a little bit. We see that his family's going to Tennessee and going to the caves. And I think one of the family members, what was his name, Sam, very fascinated with caves. And we see that he's, the family finally gets to the cave place. And we see El Cuco in his wolf mask going up to the little kid. And it's in this moment where I brought up this episode had everything in it. This was some great tension. We see El Cuco talking to the kid about the caves, and he probably witnesses some of the, the animals that he talked about and how bears were, this, that, and the other, because he's been around for centuries. So we see how El Cuco kind of seduces his victims and kind of lures them in, very a la Pennywise or what such. So we see him kind of walking up, but good thing that his sister, even though she was trying to, kind of mix it up with the kids and kind of, talking to them, but she sees her brother being taken away by this mystery guy, and we see that she calls out everyone and gets their attention, and we see that the grandfather, I think it was his grandfather, maybe his dad, for Sam, tackles him. And I don't know, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, did El Cuco scratch him at all? Because obviously we don't want that to happen. But again, in this moment, we see his mask comes off. You see a little bit of his face kind of somewhat transforming into Clyde. But again, fantastic, because we see a lot of El Cuco in this episode. This is what we've been waiting for. We wanted to see El Cuco. How does he do what he does? And we saw in this episode. Fantastic moment, fantastic scene. Loved it. We see the police picks up El Cuco's mask that he was wearing. And, you know, again, I really love this episode, guys, because again, we got everything. Some comedy, we get some lighter moments in this episode, some scary moments. It was just fantastic in my opinion from top to bottom. You know, we again going back to what this episode really brought to the forefront. We see El Cuco in the mix. We see Holly has now have more believers than she had from the beginning of the episode or beginning of the season. But now Ralph, my boy Ben Mendelsohn Ralph, finally sees what he needs to see to get on board. It's in this moment where obviously they stayed tonight to keep an eye on Clyde, to keep him, to have that eyewitness to say if something happened, we got him right here. And that moment happened. The police come over. They show Ralph the video of what happened with the kid being potentially kidnapped. And it's in that moment that my boy Ralph sees El Cuco in the flesh, in action. And now it's time to get it on. I love that moment because, again, it was a moment that I've been waiting for Ralph to finally get on board with what Holly was saying, what El Cuco's all about. He finally sees it with his own two eyes, and I'm excited to see where this leads. As I had mentioned earlier, this episode does a really good job of foreshadowing puzzle pieces. The last shot of the episode, we see El Cuco is eating an animal as he's ripping it through and tearing it apart. But the last little shot, if you notice that piece, at least in my eyes, that piece of that animal looked very similar to a puzzle piece. And I think all the puzzle pieces are coming together. And El Cuco, you got some people looking for you, my man. So I love this episode, guys. I thought it had everything, again, from funny moments to scary moments to thriller moments, suspenseful moments. It was a fantastic episode, great dialogue. As we all know, at least in my opinion, Cynthia Erivo, Ben Mendelsohn, everyone in this cast has been fantastic. I am so excited for these last two episodes. It's bittersweet because obviously it's ending, but I'm just so excited to see how they're going to end it. We got the little teaser for next week. It looks like everyone's on the same page in regards to we need to find El Cuco. We know what he looks like. So I am just so fascinated. Sorry for the light going out there. I'm just bringing off so much energy that my light's blowing out. But again, guys, I enjoyed this episode. Let me know what you thought. Give this video a thumbs up. Comment below what you're hoping to see. What are you excited for the next last two episodes of this season? There were some rumblings about a season 2. Let me know what you all think a season 2 of The Outsider could be. Obviously, we don't know how it's going to end, but I thought that was a fascinating read that I saw earlier this week. So like, share, comment, subscribe. Follow me on all my social media accounts. Keep an eye out for my videos coming this week. Reviews for Emma, The Lodge. What else am I going to be seeing? The Invisible Man. I have a giveaway going this week for Knives Out. So a lot of content coming to you all this week. Thank you all for watching this review, and we'll see you in the next video.